I'd now like to talk about Robin Wilson, who's coming on next. And she has, by the look of it, years and years of experience of working with effective strategies for working with youth, especially young girls and women, a particular group of individuals who need that extra work put in. She works on literacy initiatives and in the non-profit sector. She's worked with a variety of cultural and ethnic backgrounds locally and abroad, and she's trained young youth and adults to become leaders and responsible citizens. Robin is a compassionate leader with a passion for uplifting and inspiring young people. So please welcome Robin Wilson to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ann. I'm pleased to be here with you, and greetings to the listening audience. Today, I am going to celebrate the fathers who are with us. Now, I celebrate all parents because, as I've actually heard some of my colleagues share with you, that parents are important. So whether you are listening and you are a father or a mother or an adoptive parent or a foster parent, I want you to know that I celebrate you. But in light of Father's Day, I want to focus on the fathers, and I want you to know that you matter. So for all of those who are listening, who are fathers or a father figure, I want to wish you a happy Father's Day, because I know that we recently celebrated Father's Day. And I also want you to know that while there are many strategies that I will offer today during my presentation that are applicable to mothers and fathers, that I will focus on you. Today, I made my presentation about you and fathers as literacy leaders. As Dr. Ann shared, I am a literacy advocate. I am the CEO of Robin Wilson Educational Consulting, LLC. In the work that I do, my vision is to support young people in their personal, academic, and professional development. So I do that in a number of ways. I'm committed to empowering young people and the organizations that serve youth by providing motivational speaking services, leadership trainings, and nonprofit consulting services that yield high impacts. Among some of the things that I might do when I come into an organization is I will look at the organizational structure and make recommendations for how the organization can incorporate youth into their process and their program planning. And today, again, as I share with you, I will focus on literacy because in addition to empowering young people, one of my areas of expertise is on family literacy. And why does family literacy matter? I will start there. Illiteracy has a major impact on our nation's social, economic, and educational establishments. I'm based in Detroit, Michigan. And so I am in the United States, and I've done work around literacy matters locally, nationally, and now internationally. I'm actually working with an organization in Uganda to develop a literacy program to benefit young girls in Uganda. And so I've worked on this issue for more than 10 years now, and I can tell you that in the United States, illiteracy, it costs businesses, according to research, it costs businesses and taxpayers $20 billion per year. And so you heard me correctly. I will say that once again, it costs taxpayers $20 billion per year. And according to the National Institute for Literacy, more than 20% of adults who live in America, they read at or below a fifth grade reading level. That's far below a level that's needed to make a living wage. So as you can imagine, that would limit certain job prospects for someone who is struggling at that level with their reading. However, this is not simply a national issue. It is an international, it is a global issue. In fact, in 2017, according to a report that was released by UNESCO, an estimated 102 million adults or individuals globally between the ages of 15 and 24 years old were considered illiterate. And 750 million adults worldwide were considered illiterate, and 2/3 of those adults were women. So we have an issue. And today I want to talk about how fathers specifically can help in aiding with the progress that we're making around family literacy globally. I understand that many of you who are listening are not only based in the United States, but I understand that we have individuals who are listening from around the world. So today I want to share with you why fathers matter to literacy and to their families. Billy Graham, who was a Christian leader, he once said that a good father is one of the most unsung, unpraised, unnoticed, and yet one of the most vital assets of our society. And I could not agree more. I was blessed to have a wonderful father. I lost my father when I was 16 years old. But there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about him in some way, because he truly was my best friend. And I think that while I understand that we all have different experiences when it comes to who we saw in our lives as it relates to male figures, I recognize that some of us listening may not have grown up with our fathers. So I want to be sensitive to you. So, but even if you did not grow up with your father in your life, I think that we all can agree that fathers are so important, because they not only foster a child's sense of identity within the home, but they can also provide us with a sense of security. And they set the foundation for what we will do later in life in terms of maybe relationships that we might pursue, how we interact and how we engage in those relationships. And there actually has been many research studies that have been done that show that when youth have father figures in their lives and they're engaged in their lives, that they have more positive social outcomes. And so I'm going to dive into some of those positive outcomes as it relates to literacy. But before I do that, I just wanted to share some interesting facts about my father. My father and I shared a lot in common. We shared a love of music, and we also shared a love of athletics. Like my father, I ran track all 4 years in high school. I grew up watching my father run in races in our local area. He was a marathon runner. And then later in life, he would become a weightlifter. So he was very active. He loved to take care of his body. My father also was a reader. He loved to read. In fact, he loved to read science fiction novels, and he loved watching science fiction shows. So I don't know how many of you are Star Trek fans, but my father was a Star Trek fan, and he loved reading sci-fi. And he also was a chess player. He loved playing chess and competing in chess competitions. And I'm actually a pretty good chess player, but I would say that my father was a master chess player, and he taught me how to play chess when I was younger. Now, I will admit that I did not necessarily have a strong interest in it as a child, but he taught me how to play chess. And for those of you who know anything about chess, you know that you have to be a strategic thinker. Otherwise, if you don't have the ability to think ahead, you will not do well in the game of chess. And I'm known as the resolute strategist because I help organizations come up with strategies for best serving the young people that they work with. And my father was the master strategist. He taught me the importance of thinking ahead, and he taught me how to play chess. And I'm thankful that I had him in my life for the time that I did. So there are two things that I really want to impress upon you today for the fathers who are listening. I want you to understand that your voice matters. Over the years, there's been many different studies that have been done that show that children who come from households where their parents communicate with them on a regular basis, and they use a variety of words. So it's not simply talking to your child, but using a variety of words and using them in different contexts is beneficial to preparing your children for school readiness. So there's actually been many different studies done that show that by the age of 4, children who live in poverty will have heard 32 million fewer words than children living in professional families. And that's according to a report that was released by the National Center for Family Literacy. Now, I want you to think about that for just a moment, because as we talk about literacy, it's not simply sitting down with your child and reading to them, which that is important, and I will get to that in a moment. But simply talking to your children can help them with their literacy and language development. So when you're on those car rides to a family member's house, if you simply turn off the music for a moment and you just talk to your children, you are developing their literacy skills in that moment. And I also want you to understand that if you also have a passion for music like my father did and like I do, you can also use your voice to build your child's language and literacy skills by singing with them. That is one of the things that I loved to do with my father. And in fact, when I was younger, my mother told me that when I was a baby, my father used to carry me around the house and he would sing to me while he rocked me in his arms. And so that simple act of holding your child, if you have young children, and walking them and singing to them, you are helping them with their language development. Even as babies, our brains are processing so much language and learning about the environment around us. So even as babies, you can hold your children and you can sing to them. You don't have to wait until they're 1, 2, 3 years old and responding to you fully to sing to your children. Even if you don't have such a great singing voice, you can sing to your children to help them develop their language skills. It gives them an opportunity to hear the words that you're speaking and to make those connections. And then the third thing I want you to recognize is that you can read to them, and you can read to them on a daily basis. It doesn't have to be for 30 minutes to an hour, just simply taking 15 minutes, whether it's at the beginning of your day or the end of your day before they go to bed. Make a routine of reading to your children. Depending on their age, allow them to pick the book that they would like to read with you and simply read to them. Show them the pictures. You can talk about the pictures. It's not only about the words. You can point to the pictures and talk about the pictures. That is how you can use your voice to be a literacy leader within your household for your children. The second thing that I want you to recognize is that your engagement matters. There's many different studies that have been done that show that play with your children, as well as attending school events and programs, are beneficial to the literacy development of young children, especially, and also getting involved in your community. I always tell parents, not just fathers, but tap into your village for support. We know that it takes a village to raise a child. And when it comes to raising literacy rates, and when it comes to really helping our children to advance in their confidence around reading, it is okay to reach out to your village and people within your village and say, that you need help, or you just simply want support in promoting literacy within your household. And so what I would also share with you is don't be afraid to get down on the floor and play with your young children. It is a great opportunity for you to develop their language and literacy skills, because again, you're using your language skills with them and you're engaging them in play. Young children in particular, they benefit from engaging in play. It is part of the way that they learn. And when you attend school events and programs, if your time allows, this is also beneficial because it shows your child the importance of education. When they can see you engaged in different things that are going on within their school or in after school programs, it just simply reinforces the importance of reading, of learning. And that is the messaging, indirect messaging that you want to send to your children. I want, again, to just leave you with this because I'm getting ready to close, that your voice matters and that your engagement matters. I know that we have a lot of wonderful fathers around the world. And as I shared with you, I had one of the best. And I'm so thankful that I had my father. And even though my father passed away when I was 16 years old, both my sister and I have gone on to earn college degrees. My sister is actually pursuing her doctorate degree right now. And we have avoided the pitfalls of teenage pressures and the pains of early adulthood. Did we go through certain struggles? Absolutely. I think young people in general have different struggles that they encounter. However, never underestimate your voice. Never underestimate the power of your engagement. You make a difference. And I know we don't celebrate our fathers enough in our society, but today I wanted to let you know that I celebrate you, because I know that there are many fathers around the world who are doing a fabulous job. And this information was simply intended to support the amazing work that I know many of you already do. So if you have found value in any of the strategies that I shared today, I ask that you please complete the survey that Barky will post in the chat for me in just a moment. I encourage you to please reach out to me if you have any additional questions, or if there is additional information that you would like me to provide about how young men and men in general who are fathers can be engaged in their child's literacy learning, I would be more than happy to talk with you